One of our friends at La Cité, after the European Equip last year, said to us, "Gee, we've met so many South Africans. Do you guys all come from the same church? You're all alike." And we had to tell her, no, there is more than one church in South Africa. But we do want to say, just thank you for your support, your backing for the elders here. It is an amazing thing to know that there is people rooting for you, and that we're not just on our own mission, that we're definitely part of what you guys have sent. And I'm reminded this morning that we knew that Ian and Lee were God's choice for this church simply because of all the miracles that he did to get them here. It was like he couldn't get us out fast enough for them to arrive, right? And it's been cool just to look around and see the new changes, this updates and bits and pieces, which is good, right? It's a good thing to see the new faces. If I haven't met you, high five. Well done. So excited. Like, I don't mind about the old people. I want to meet the new people. No, we really love you guys. But it's just super cool to see the blessing of God, the favor of God still here, right? Yes. And to see you guys continuing to count for the Lord, to be able to represent you. The Europeans don't like to hear about another country, so like in any country, every other country is less than. And so when we tell them about this little place called South Africa, they're like, yeah, whatever. But it's good for us to know that we come from a people like this. And it's a great privilege. Thank you for allowing us to represent you on that side of the world. I don't remember what else I should say. Would you close your eyes with me? Jesus taught his disciples to pray, "Our Father in heaven." Goes on to say, "Your kingdom come, your will be done." Maybe just with your eyes closed, you can think for a moment, what does that look like for me? Tyron Daniel has often said that for his kingdom to come, it means my kingdom must go. For his will to be done, it means my will must not be done. We're so excited to be here. I've got all sorts of hand grenades to throw at you. But I want us to understand this morning that we celebrate what God does in us as a church, but also each one of us is individually called to follow him, and then we pool our efforts. That's what makes church so amazing. That makes this church so amazing. But for you, what would your kingdom come look like? Would it mean a change of priorities or a change of thinking, a change of friends, change of direction? I don't know. What does his will be done? Is it meaning there's parts where his will, your will, needs to surrender? Jesus said, "Father, if you can, would you take this cup from me, but not my will, but yours be done." Around the world, the Lord is looking for a people, exactly as Ian led us earlier. He will just say, "Lord, choose me. I exist to do your will. Can I be part of building your kingdom, not my own?" I know I'm lingering here a little, but just before we go, would you try and make some kind of a memory? I don't know if you need to WhatsApp yourself or scribble it down or put it in text. Just say, "For his kingdom to come for me means ... You can open your eyes. Jesus said in Matthew 24, the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. His kingdom is important to him. In Exodus chapter 32, verse 24, it says, so Moses goes up on the mountain to get the 10 commandments from God. He comes down the mountain and there is chaos. He left them doing Bible studies. He gets back to them doing debauchery. I can only imagine what his heart must have felt. Can you imagine if we came back to Pretoria and this there was like, hey? I don't know what it must have done to his heart. And so he asked some questions, and they told him, well, the people wanted someone to worship. So I said to them, whoever has any gold jewelry, take it off. So they gave me the gold. It's like a hijacking in South Africa, right? They gave me their gold, and I threw it into the fire, and a calf came out. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. My brother is a sculptor. He works with bronze and often life-size and half life-size. And I want to tell you, it doesn't just happen overnight. He doesn't just take some pieces, bits and pieces, put it on the table, and hey presto, now there's a figure. Just like any of you who go to the gym. It doesn't just happen when you get a gym membership, right? Yes? Savings doesn't just happen. I think many people live their lives this way. Take a little bit of my family and a little bit of my work and a little bit of my whatever leisure you like to do. You put it together and you put it in your calendar and boom, a calf comes out. And then we look at each other going, where did that come from? Like, yo, my life is so tough. How did that happen? Why? I don't want to get too personal, but yes. Yeah. 13 cheesecakes for lunch, 14 for dinner. You've got no one else to blame, right? Hey. Most of us take the ingredients of our lives and then we complain. We look for someone to complain to, saying, how did this happen? How did I end up with no friends, no money, no time? Yes? How did that happen? We go, oh God, it's unfair. Do you hate me? Do people hate? What's going on? We put our ingredients into our calendar and boom, a calf comes out. We wonder how that happened. I would suggest that many churches follow the same pattern. We take a bit of worship, we take a bit of preaching, we take some of this and some of that, we put it all together, and boom, what happens? And we think, oh, how did this church end up like this? I loved hanging out with you guys at the coffee break. You know how many people told me they're so happy that you guys are here? I didn't quite know how to take that, but nevertheless. I tell you, every time I heard it, my smile got bigger. I'm so glad. Hey? Ah, man. Put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of, and how did this happen? Honestly, I haven't even said this to Colette yet, but I think you guys are happier. This church is tight, man. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm seeing twinkles in eyes that had no twinkles. Hey? People telling me, well, we've kind of been not doing too much, but now, come on. Hey? We can't just bumble our way through lives and wonder what happened and point fingers at someone else. Right? This morning, I would like to talk to you about the privilege, the peril, and the price of the third generation. Do you realize that this church is now in its third generation? Planted in 1997, the year after the Rinderpest. But it's in its third generation, third iteration of eldership teams, right? This morning, the church we led in Margate a long time ago is going through its fifth transition. 5 lead guys over the years. And we Sent a message to a dear couple who are on eldership. They've served with every leader over the years. And we sent this to encourage them and wish we were there, but we're here and go for it and rah-rah. And they came back and they said, we've loved to serve Jesus. We've done whatever he wants us to do. It doesn't matter what role we play, we're there until God sends us somewhere else. And they said, each of the leaders has been amazing and each has been different. And it was like almost different is more than amazing. But anyway, it's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. Different skills, different seasons. I'd like to tell you about the privilege, the peril, and the price of this third generation. We now come invited by your eldership team. We're just friends to cheer you along, and hopefully there's something of a gifting that and a deposit we can leave. But man, I don't want to tell you what to do. That's not my role anymore. I want to cheer you along and say, come on. Yeah, tuck in behind your elders. Let's go. All right, so let's have a look. Numbers 13. The Israelites send the 12 spies into the promised land. You may remember if you've read this part of the Bible. And so God had given the Israelites a promise that he would usher them into their own land. And so they were not too sure, so they sent some spies over the border to have a look. And then in Numbers chapter 13, they come back and they say, we seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Talk about a lack of self-confidence. I know what you're thinking, right? You think I look like a grasshopper? It's probably like, really? Yeah. And then in verse 14, it says, because of that report, all the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, if only we had died in Egypt. It's like living in this place is worse than dying in that place. Hey? Oh God, if only you wouldn't have told me to do something else. Move me on. Yeah? This church has a testimony of moving on. We want to encourage you in that. In Numbers 14, verse 23, so God replies, and he says, no one who has treated me with contempt will ever see the promised land. That's strong words, right? You hear, treated me, God speaking, with contempt. And then he says in verse 24, but because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went into, and his descendants will inherit it. You know how many people, of all the Israelites that went into the desert, who gets out of the desert? Just two. Caleb, Joshua. Hey, you imagine saying goodbye. You imagine how many funerals they went to. You imagine how many lost or what's the word? Unfulfilled promises. Must have been tragic to see a nation fade away in front of your eyes. Hey? And God, all those people of that age group, and God says to Caleb and Joshua, I'll bring you into the land, and his descendants will inherit it. Joshua chapter 14, it's the other side of the same story. And then they enter the land, and God is instructing them to apportion inheritance to each tribe. Okay, so each tribe, the 12 tribes of Israel, each gets their part. Some get Alberton. If you come from Alderspin, good morning. My name's Craig. I won't be here next week. Caleb reminds Joshua, he says, I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me to this place to explore the land. And I brought back a report according to my convictions. Do you have convictions this morning? If I push you, if I poke you, what comes out? Mr. Naidu, not those kind of convictions. Do you have convictions? Do you have something that you can stand for? I want to tell you, when we're strangers in a strange land, if you don't have convictions, you would run screaming from the giants. Even in a familiar land, it's tough enough, right? Do you have something, convictions, that'll get you through the dark night? Says, I brought back a report according to my convictions. When the elders call you to do something, you think, really? I've heard churches embark on building processes and the churches split because half the people just can't, their hearts can't bear to think that God has called them to such a big task. Yeah? And then down the road, the church, whoever's left builds the building, the church gets full, and all of those people that bailed because they didn't have conviction. I wonder about that. Imagine the could-haves, would-haves, should-haves. Imagine if we were part of that. If we just believed, if we just had a little bit of chutzpah, a little bit of something. Not those 10 guys, the grasshoppers. But my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. Grace Cov, can I ask you not to be heart melters? Hebrews tells you and me that we are to consider our leaders. Observe the outcome of their faith. The outcome of their way of life, sorry. And then we are to imitate their faith. Right? It also tells us in Hebrews 13 that we are to make their jobs a joy because it would be of no use to us not to do that. You want a great church? Make your leaders a job a joy. Just what the Bible says. Don't be a heart melter. Yeah? Great church, we're doing this. Well, washing my hair that night, right? However, I follow the Lord my God wholeheartedly. Imagine people saying about that of you. Like that guy, he's all in. That girl, I never hear her say those things. I only hear her say these things. Hey, wouldn't it be cool to be one of those? Then he says in verse 10, now then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years since the time he has said this to Moses, while Israel moved around in the wilderness. He says, so here I am today, 85 years old. So I love this. So proud of being old. He's hung in there for so long. Have you had to hang in there for a long time? People keep telling us, tell us a story. How did you get to Paris? We said, well, it started about 8 years ago. They're like, what? How did that work? Hey, many of you guys, the guys that I know, they've been on this journey. You new guys, welcome. Jump in. Have a whole heart. Don't be a heart melter. Let's go, right? Like I said, I won't be here next week. I'm still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go into battle. Hey, this 84-year-old grandpa. Talk about dad's army. This is grandpa's army. Hey, I'm just as vigorous to go into the fight, and he wants to go to the hill countries and find the Anakites and the Marmites and the Parasites and all of those ites. Hey, we met the Parasites. We were sick for so long when we left there. There were parasites everywhere. Anyway, and where's some strong young men? There's Micah. I'm going to look at you because I'm sure you're the only strong young man in this room. No? You should be throwing stones at me, Ruben. And do you think an 85-year-old guy is as strong as a 45-year-old? You guys are thinking, 45-year-old. No, he's... Yeah, do you think he was as strong physically? Probably not. I don't know, maybe he's been doing push-ups in the desert. I don't know. Doing his park runs. And I don't know. But there was something about him that was just as strong. He had conviction. He had a whole heart. He was not ready melting in the desert, right? Something in him said, man, I'm going to finish those people. I'm going up on the mountains where they hide. I'm going to take the inheritance that God has promised me. Yes? And remember at the beginning we read, I'm sure in his mind he's thinking, because actually it's for me, but actually the Lord promised, and to your descendants. Okay? Joshua chapter 14, we'll just finish the story. It says, so Caleb had a daughter called Axa, and he found a military champion to marry her. It's a good type of person, good strong man to marry her. And then she comes to Axa comes to Caleb, daughter comes to dad, and he says to her, what can I do for you? It's always a dangerous question for a dad to ask a daughter. And she replies, do me a special favor, like, oh, here we go, right? Not just can you help me, but he's setting him up. Then she says, since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. I don't mean to be pedantic, but can you say also? Also? Yeah? Grace Cov Church, this is the passage that I felt that God put on our hearts for you. The power, the privilege, the peril, and the price of the third generation. It's this one. Your day is not done. You haven't arrived. You haven't got now, we got rid of the last guy, the new team, we just happy, we just love each other and drink tea and wait for Jesus. I think you got fish to fry. I think you got stuff still to do, right? Yeah? And so she says, man, you've given me land, but please give me water. So he gives her the water rights. You know how privileged water, businesses can close down overnight when their water right runs out. So he gives her both the upper and the lower springs. Now the Negev is a desert, right? It's a dry place. You can show us that next one, Julie. Thank you. Looks like this. When there's no water, you've got sand. When you've got water, it's one of the most fruitful places in the region. And she knew, I've got the space, but I need the fruit. Hey? So she asks, she pushes in. She doesn't just take what's offered. She says, hang on, I want a little bit more. Can I also have? Have you prayed a prayer like that? I hope you have, and if you haven't, I hope you're going to start. Not just, oh, Jesus, name it and claim it, I want to be a hero. No, we've got people unreached. You know, one of the shocking things for us in Paris, like Colette said, there are people always, probably 3 times a day, we stand with our noses in someone's armpit on the metro. You laugh. Come visit, I'll show you. I'll introduce you. Right? It's like there are people everywhere, but you know the church has been drilled, we've been squeezed into this lack of expectation that you could even greet someone, never mind tell them about Jesus, never mind see them become born again. France, 1 out of 100 people are Christians. You put yourself in a metro, the 100 people around you, if you're a Christian, they're not. If you're going to heaven, they're not. And French people have been lulled, they've been like squeezed into this lack of expectation. There also has left them. Grace Cov, I would encourage you with as much as I can. You need to be an also generation. You need to back this eldership team and say, Lord, also, we've got the space, but we need the fruit. To get the fruit, we need your water. And because she asked that, upper and lower. Not just one. She asked for water, she got 2. You know how valuable that is in the desert, right? Okay. You understand my point, right? So here we have it. We talk 3 generations. The first generation is Moses. God called Moses to a life of obedience, right? Go to a place I will show you, right? And then Caleb is the next generation. When all the others fell away, Caleb was still there. Speaks of a life of faithfulness. Lord, you have spoken, I'm continuing to do. And then we see Asa, his daughter, the 3rd generation now, a life of fruitfulness. And Grace Cov, you guys are poised in the 3rd generation. The opportunity for good and for disappointment is in your hands. Most churches fail in the 3rd generation. Most businesses fail. Most families are embarrassed in the 3rd generation. I'm not trying to rescue you from that stuff. I'm just stirring you because we have great expectations for you. Okay, so let's have a quick look. You see, the first generation are the pioneers. If you walk outside where the cars park in front of the jungle gym, you should be grateful for the nice green grass under your feet. 15 years ago, that was bush. There was a building here. 19 people worshipped in this building. This one, on the first Sunday when it opened. 19. Pioneers. Gauntlet laid. Challenge accepted. Yeah? One of the first things, I don't even think we'd arrived properly. Mike and I said, hey, and we got a TLB, and we scraped the bush away because we needed to see what our territory was. Hey, Grace Cov, well, kind of had established this little beach here. The pioneers had done their thing. We were like, yeah, that's great, but now we're going on. We're the second generation. We're not just here to hold on to this little patch. We want some more grass. So we stripped the whole thing, and then I spent 14 years praying up and down for grass to grow. You laugh. If you've been around, you know the story. It was like a metaphor. What's a metaphor? It was like God spoke to me every time I went there. Pioneer little blades of grass. All of a sudden, little thing. Yeah. Starts to grow. First generation of the pioneers, they break new ground. They take it on the forehead. They believe that something could be different. Imagine if you're that guy in your family. Hey? Dave Ramsey says, you can change your family tree. Now, he's talking about money, but man, if you could be that first generation, just because your family goes back to the Orsavar, whoever those people were, those old people, just because you think, you've had multiple generations, man, you could be the beginning of a new generation in your family. Hey? You could be the first one that has a healthy marriage till the end of time. Hey? Pioneers. The next one are the settlers. And when I say settlers, I won't have time to get it. I mean like those that settle the land, not settle down, because you get both. That's the danger, okay? But you're with me, you understand. So the second generation take what the first did, and they start to extend a little bit. Most of this property was like this at the end of the first generation. Second generation came, we just put some little tweaks and little. Third generation, I'm watching this space, is going to be cool. Telling you, every expectation. Yeah. You see, those of us that were in the second generation, we've done our part, right? Yeah. Now, those of you who are in the third generation, and some of you have been first, second, and third, good luck. Time to get some new running shoes. Hey? Yeah? Let's go. Second generation, kind of make it a bit bigger. You go from just kind of protecting your babies from being eaten by wild animals. That's what the Frenchies think about South Africa. And hey, all of a sudden you've got like some livestock that doesn't just disappear overnight every time. Hey, and then you've got a little bit more. You can actually maybe a son grows up and has a family or a daughter, or you start to get a little bit of a village going. It becomes a town. Second generation puts into place habits and strategies that will enable the next generation to accelerate in development and growth. Church, we did some stuff, right? You guys. Hey, some of you have got the scars to prove it. Some of you have got the testimonies, right? But man, that season's for this season. You sow in that season so you can reap in this season so you can sow again. Okay? Third generation are the developers. The third generation is the dangerous generation. You can make or break in the third. I won't use names because that's unkind. But all these celebrities that are famous for being famous, many of them have rich parents who actually worked for their money. And now the third generation, they're just famous because they have money. And they're famous. Right? You can go that way, or you can take what has been established. Yeah? Because the third generation, for the first time, you got some surplus. It's no longer subsistence living. I'm no longer just like leopard crawling to my quiet time every morning and say, Jesus, please keep me going. Please don't let me get hijacked today. Yeah? Now you're in the third generation, you're saying, Jesus, like, save me, but if it takes me, I don't care because them. You get it? First generation is this, Lord, like, how do we stop the wild animals? How do we stop the giants of the land eating us alive? Feels a little bit like Paris. Yeah? Then you come along, you say, okay, well, we can actually feed ourselves. We can get through winters. We're not falling apart every 5 minutes. Oh, Jesus, it's so nice knowing you. Can I go with your presence today? Yeah? Get into the rhythms, godly rhythms. Third generation comes along and saying, Jesus, I know you're here. I'm coming to join you. Can I talk to you about some friends I don't know yet? You know, we partner with one church in Poland. 0.1% of their population, 38 million people, are Christian. 0.1. In the last 10 years, 10 years ago, there were 40,000 evangelical Christians. Christians like you and me. Yeah? This year we went to visit. They just had the new reports. They went from 40,000 10 years ago to 30,000 today. Colette and I went. We walked the streets of Warsaw for the first time, their capital. We normally go to Krakow, their second city. Jesus, can I tell you about my friends? Don't know them yet. You do. Maybe I should be telling you about your friends, Lord, your sons and your daughters. I'd love to meet. I'd love to ask them if they remember you. I'd love to ask them if they'd like to meet you again. Third generation has that power. Because all of a sudden you've got 3 elders. You can leave 2 and go 1. You can leave 1. Hey, we found out in 2023 that you guys could do it without us. Please don't let them take 11 or whatever, 12 years before you figure out you can stand on your own feet, right? Anyway, okay. So I promised you the privilege, the peril, and the price, right? So what's the privilege of the third generation? Well, the privilege of the third generation is that someone else has broken the hard ground. Someone else dug the foundations of this building. Hey? Someone else argued with the builders and got them to do it right again. Hey? The privilege of the third generation is that others have fought for what we consider normal life. People in Northern Hemisphere think like South Africa is just one long Bible study. They just think like there's so many Christians there, they can't believe it. They don't know what to do with it. They're like, wow. Yeah. Now, I know between you and me, I know it's not like that, right? But there's been people in the past that paid a price for us to live in South Africa like this. Hey? There were people in Europe that paid that price, but man, the third generation, well, we'll get it going again. Others have fought for what we consider normal life. When you guys come and you hug each other and you smile, your friends, you guys telling me how you love your life group people, hey, man, that's because people suffered in the past with grumpy life group people. Figured it out. Now life groups are lekker. Hey? You understand my point? Okay. We've had others that can train us because they figured it out the hard way. Right? And they can teach us. We can take a shortcut. The second child always develops faster than the first child because he just watches. We have those we respect to hold us accountable. I was listening to a business podcast the other day. The guy said, being a business leader, it's so lonely. In my head, I was thinking, good luck, try being a lead elder. Or an elder. Or a father. Or a mother. Or a Christian standing in the face of adversity. But we've got someone to learn from. Others have been this way before. Man, it's a privileged position this church is in. I hope you understand. You guys have been in the second generation, so the privilege is from you that have been around. The new guys, you're welcome from them. Secondly, the peril, the danger of the third generation. Billy Graham said the theme of our generation is get more, know more, do more, instead of pray more, be more, and serve more. The third generation just wants to be hooked up. Hey? Tyron Daniel always says in the American context, and I'm sure it's not like this in South Africa, says the people in his church started leaving because he was never there. They're like, we just want our pastor home. That thinking is amazing to me because the assumption is that if the pastor was home, or the pastors, the loving, caring people were home, then they'd devote all of their time to me. Well, that works if the church is one person. Because what happens if two people need help at the same time? You get it? Jesus said you leave the 99, you go after the one. The peril of the third generation is that we take for granted the things of real value. Those things that were hard fought. We give up like this. Yeah? Then the next generation has to fight to get those ones back again. I don't know how it goes at your house, but man, it's so easy. You stop eating at the dinner table. You have a sandwich as you pass like ships in the night. You don't pray, say grace as often. You think grace, I prayed when we bought the groceries. That should last us the month. You think silly things. Hey, you come to church, we raise our hands. You go, I don't feel like it today. I won't raise my hands today. You know, people literally lost their lives so that we would understand we can raise our hands. You don't understand the real value. The second is a lack of history. You see, Bob Marley said, if you know your history, I won't ask us to sing it, then you will know where you're coming from. Why did the Israelites go like this in the desert? Because they were not looking behind. Anyway, I must move on. Thirdly, lack of vision. Because this is my vision. Oh, there's too many people here today. In fact, you know how far I had to walk from the car to the... And then I had to sit in the back row. My goodness. If only. My favorite, I'm sure you've heard me say this, but my favorite is when people join a church and say, oh, it's so nice to be part of a small church. I'm like, well, please don't join. You get it? There is a peril to the third generation. We lack vision. We look here. We start getting leather couches and gold taps and bigger TVs instead of taking some money and putting it somewhere else that has eternal fruit. Obedience, faithfulness, fruitfulness. God bless you with your stuff. That's fine. It's fine to have stuff. Just don't let your stuff have you. Okay, and then finally, the price. Here you go. So this lady was traveling and she saw this amazing piece of jewelry. She texted her husband, wow, sent a picture. Think how pretty I'll be. Hey? She texts him. She says, can I buy it? And he replies. And he replies, no, the price is too high. But unfortunately, predictive text kicks in. And the second one is what she receives. The privilege. You know, this in Poland, 90% of the villages don't have a Protestant church. There is not this privilege. Privilege, peril. Let's do the right response, not the wrong response. Finally, it comes with a price. Jesus said when you build a tower, you first sit down and you make sure you can finish it, right? You go to war, you make sure before you hoot at that guy in his car, you make sure to see when he gets out of the car, is he this big or is he this big? Hey? You've seen those videos. You count the cost. No. Price too high. You see how important a pause is? Let's not be the people of the pause. God speaks to this church and the elders say, yeah, let's go that way. You say, yeah. You don't say, can I get back to you? Don't be the people of the pause. What is the price of the third generation? Number one, keep your heart set on pilgrimage. Keep your heart set on pilgrimage. Blessed are those, Psalm 84, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. They keep on moving on. Man, we said that over and over. Hey, Centurion, the fountains, right? They make the dry valleys, the weeping valleys into the place of springs. Those people, yeah? Can I just tell you, friends, that picture is not up. They keep on moving on. The second price of the third generation is that we have to keep our own revelation of Jesus fresh. Yeah? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. It's going to shine and shine and shine. We've got to keep on choosing faith. Friends, often when we talk like this, we think church. I'm asking you in your life, sir or ma'am. When last did you exercise great faith with your family? With your work? With your boss? With your neighbor? Not great faith to get to the gym. Great faith to greet my neighbor, to build a bridge. Got to keep choosing faith. I can prophesy over every church, but this one included, that you will face over and over the option to take the safe road or the difficult road. Chicken or beef? Choose faith. The price of the third generation is that we have to keep making disciples and keep the nations as our prize. The privilege, the peril, the price of the third generation. We are cheering you on. There are so many promises waiting for you, right? Yeah? As Ian led us this morning, nations, people all over the world, in your neighborhood and street, and in China, who are waiting for you. One last thing. The interesting thing, the inheritance that God gave Caleb, the special part of that place he gave Caleb, was inside of the part allotted to his tribe. He didn't give Judah here and Caleb there. It's like, Judah, this is your place, and inside of that, the promise that I gave to Caleb, that's yours, buddy. That corner is yours. Your promise, connected. Your inheritance is connected to the inheritance of the tribe that God has placed you in. God bless you.